The protagonist travels to the romance of the three kingdoms and discovers that he is Pan Feng. What's even more terrifying is that he immediately has to face Hua Xiong. In order to survive, he, who is usually out of control, begins to survive under the pincer attack of various powers in the three kingdoms. Slowly, he realizes that he has actually begun to dominate everything that arises here. Chapter 1. Me, Pan Feng, coming through time. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. General, wake up. General. Pan Feng was still asleep, feeling a bit angry when someone piled up like this. She sat up and cursed. What the hell are you doing? Who the hell are you letting people sleep? After cursing, he saw two strangers standing in front of him, dressed as if in the armor of an ancient soldier. Who are you? Pan Feng was a bit stunned and didn't know what had happened for a moment. General Pan, my lord, please go to the front line and kill that Huaxiong. The two soldiers didn't know how to answer Pan Feng's question for a moment. However, in the current situation, it seems that what the Lord has instructed is more important. What? General Pan. Hua Xiong. What TV series did you shoot? I haven't received any TV dramas either. Pan Feng was dumbfounded. Yes, his name is Pan Feng, and I don't know what his parents think about giving him such a name for a man. This is not the most important thing. The most important thing is that his name is the same as that of a famous waste in the Three Kingdoms period. Because of this, he was laughed at by his classmates from primary school to college. Even so, he has never acted on TV and is not an actor. Wait. I remember I had a car accident. The car fell into a cliff, so I shouldn't be able to survive. What's the situation? Pan Feng felt a slight headache and didn't know what was going on for a moment. What did the general say? The soldier still didn't understand and looked at Pan Feng with a puzzled expression on his face. Are you guys filming TV dramas? Where's the camera? Come out quickly, stop pretending, I've seen everything. Pan Feng tried to cheat, but nothing happened. The two soldiers in front of them increasingly felt that the general in front of them might have drunk his mind. Report to general. At this moment, another soldier ran in from outside. The Lord has an order, ordering the general to immediately leave the camp and call him Jean Huaxiong. Okay, the soldier came to urge him. Pan Feng felt something was wrong and asked the person. I'm asking you, what are you doing now? Now. Begging. Begging dong. The soldier was also a bit confused. Upon hearing this, Pan Feng stood up directly. Alright, I won't talk to you guys either. You guys are really dedicated. I'll go out and find them myself, but I don't believe it. I can't find the camera. Pan Feng walked out of the tent and was momentarily stunned. As far as his eyes could see, there were scattered spots where the military camp was located. Where did the camera come from outside, and where did it seem like filming? Back in the CCTV romance of the Three Kingdoms, there were no such scenes, and it was obvious that he had traveled through time. I've traveled through time. They just called me General Pan and asked me to go and call Jean Huaxiong. General Pan, who fought against Hua Xiong, fuck me, I became Pan Feng. No, I was originally Pan Feng, and I'm not. Pan Feng is fictional. It's not in the history of the Three Kingdoms. Did it enter the romance of the Three Kingdoms? Pan Feng was dumbfounded. He never expected that he would fall asleep in the romance of the Three Kingdoms, and he was still Pan Feng, and most importantly, the dying Pan Feng. Everyone knows that Pan Feng went to Jean Huaxiong and was beheaded on horseback in less than Sanha, but now the army is like a mountain, and Han Fu must send him to death. I suddenly have a slight stomach ache, can I not go? Pan Feng looked at the messenger and asked. The messenger looked up at him, his eyes seeming to say. Big brother, aren't you? Pan Feng didn't care about so much and asked again. Is it okay? General, the Lord has already told Duke Yuan that General Pan can kill Hua Xiong. If you don't go, the Lord won't. Upon hearing this, Pan Feng's face turned green and her heart tightened. She cursed to herself. Okay, Han Fu, you're bragging about it yourself. Go fight it yourself. This is forcing my grandfather to die. What kind of person is Hua Xiong? Can I fight him? That must be Guan Eryi. Yes, Guan Eryi is here. Why should I go and die? Got it. Thinking of this, Pan Feng suddenly had an idea. He looked at the soldier and asked. Where is the Lord now? In the big tent. The soldier answered. Take me there quickly. Pan Feng said that the soldier had no choice but to take Pan Feng over. Two small soldiers came over immediately, carrying a mountain axe. Upon hearing this, Pan Feng was shocked. Oh, it seems that Pan Feng still has something to carry. Two people need to carry weapons, which is only seen in Journey to the West. So he stepped forward and grabbed the axe, only to find that it wasn't as heavy. So light, you need two people to lift it. Pan Feng was somewhat surprised and asked the soldier carrying the axe. General, you forgot. This is what you requested. It's impressive to say so. The soldier replied, bewildered Pan Feng. He didn't expect Pan Feng to have such a little bit of a small mind. He couldn't help but go out with an axe in hand. After Pan Feng passed by, Han Fu immediately stepped forward and said to Yuan Shao above. Leader, this is General Pan Feng Pan. Upon seeing it, Yuan Shao glanced at Pan Feng, who was 9 feet long with thick eyebrows and big eyes. He looked quite a heroic warrior and was very happy. He said to Pan Feng. Okay, General Pan is truly majestic. Then in Huaxiong, there is General Lao Pan. Leader, I'm not here this time to confront Huaxiong. Pan Feng arched his hand and said, nonsense, if he really goes to confront Huaxiong, he will die there. Pan Feng has just crossed over, and the position of this general is not yet hot, so let him go and die. He's not stupid. General Pan, what does this mean? Upon hearing this, Yuan Shao felt a bit confused. The meaning of last general is that he is just a Hua Xiong. When we don't need to attach such importance, I know there is one person in the army who can definitely take the head of that Hua Xiong. Pan Feng arched his hand and replied. Oh, where is this person? After listening, Yuan Shao asked a question. Pan Feng turned around and walked down to Guan Yu, bowing his hand and saying. Excuse me, but Guan Yu and Guan Yunchang. Guan Yu was taken aback for a moment, then arched his hand and replied. It's Guan. General Guan may not recognize me, but I remember General Guan. In the past, when he was besieging the Yellow Turban, he had a chance encounter with him. Now, he has become a general, but general. Pan Feng looked at Guan Yu, looked at Liu Bei and Zhang Fei beside him, and continued. I know the power of a general, as well as the benevolence and righteousness of Duke Xuanda. Today, this Huaxiong should be the third to climb the ladder of success. Guan Yu looked at Pan Feng and then at Liu Bei. Liu Bei nodded, and then Guan Yu arched his hand and said. Guan, thank you very much, General Pan. Pan Feng was very happy and turned to look at Yuan Shao, saying. Leader, what the last general said is this person. Yuan Shao glanced at Guan Yu and asked. What is your current position? Ma Gongshou. Guan Yu answered. Upon hearing this, Yuan Shao immediately became displeased. Dare, are you deceiving no one in our army? What kind of behavior would it be to let a bowman fight? When these words were spoken, Guan Yu's face turned green. Pan Feng stood there, thinking to himself. Chao Amon, come out quickly. Now is the time for you to come out. If you don't come out at this time, who can persuade Yuan Shao? Just as I was thinking about it, I heard someone standing behind me. Alliance leader, please calm down. Chapter 2. Me, Pan Feng, I won't fight against Huaxiong. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. After all, he came out. Seeing that Yuan Shao looked down on Guan Yu, Boss Chow still came out to intercede. Since this person has made great achievements, he must have courage and strategy. Try his horse, and if he cannot win, it is not too late to take responsibility. After listening to Cao Cao's words, Yuan Shao nodded. Okay, since Meng Digong is pleading for his mercy, let's plan ahead. If he kills Hua Xiong, he will make up for it. Upon hearing this, Cao Cao immediately raised his hand. Someone, serve the wine. How could Pan Feng, as a traveler, miss this opportunity? Just as he brought the wine over there, he stepped forward, took the wine jug, and said to Guan Eryi. Pan offered flowers as a gift to Buddha, borrowed the wine of Duke Mengda, and marched bravely for the general. Second master waved his hand. Don't worry, it's not too late to drink when I come back. After speaking, Pan Feng immediately took out his sword and stood in place. Yu Guang glanced at Cao Cao, feeling very proud in his heart. What's wrong, Mr. Cao? Do you feel like you're living in my shadow? Hee, we still have time in the future. In such a short period of time, Pan Feng has already figured out what to do next. At this time, he has many choices. Dong Zhuo still controls the court, and those unlucky things under him are still here. He can try to return to Changlin, falsely defect to Dong Zhuo, and then join forces with Wang Yun, except for Dong Thief. After removing Dong Zhuo, Wang Yun had a big problem, which was that he didn't have any soldiers under his command. It's okay if he didn't have any soldiers, and he didn't properly place Li Gui and Guosi under Dong Zhuo's command. In the end, the two of them teamed up to attack the city, defeated LV Bu and killed Wang Yun, but he was different. He now has troops under his command, and he wouldn't handle these two people like Wang Yun did. If he could take these two people for his own use, it wouldn't be difficult to control Changlin. Of course, this is just one of the paths, and there is also the path of Cao Cao. How did Cao Cao get up? In the third year of Chuping, 192 AD, he captured Yenzhou and divided the Yellow Turban Army into more than 300,000 troops. He selected the elite and organized them into the Qingzhou Army, which greatly boosted his military strength. Later, based on the Qingzhou Army, he attacked Yuan Shu, fought against Tao Qian, and defeated LV Bu, all the way to the position of Minister of Works and overall control of the court. Therefore, the origin of all this was the 300,000 Yellow Turban Army surrendered. As long as he can obtain the 300,000 surrendered troops before Cao Cao, he can try to follow Cao Cao's path of Qingyun. Compared to others, the situation in Changlin is unpredictable, and it is difficult for Li Qian, Guosi, and others to ponder. Based on Pan Feng's understanding of the three kingdoms, he thinks that the second path is more appropriate. Therefore, he decided to follow Cao Cao's path. Since he wants to follow Cao Cao's path, he must let Cao Cao live in the shadow of Charlotte like Jie Chou. However, Pan Feng didn't think so. The only thing he wanted now was to survive in this chaotic world, no matter what, to survive first is always the most important thing. Cao Cao looked at Pan Feng with a surprised expression. He didn't expect that the wine he had ordered would have someone else cut off his beard. However, this made him pay attention to this person named Pan Feng. He didn't believe that Pan Feng had seen Guan Yu before, but he could see at a glance that Guan Yu was not simple, which showed his exceptional qualities. At least Cao Cao thought so. Cao Cao and Pan Feng were both immersed in their own psychological activities on this side. The second master at that end returned, holding a head in his hand. It goes without saying that our great general, Hua Xiong, became the key to Guan Eri's fame. Pan Feng didn't know if he would feel something was wrong when Hua Xiong died. In theory, did he still have to chop one more? However, it doesn't matter anymore. If there is any doubt, then Hua Xiong may have to ask Yan Wanya if he has missed one stroke of his military achievements. General Guan is indeed divine and brave. This wine is still warm, please. Pan Feng walked up directly with the wine jug and said to Guan Eryi. Thank you very much, General Pan. The second master reached out to take it and drank it all in one gulp. Okay, you're a hero of the time. Pan Feng said a sentence, and Chow Chow beside him had his eyes straight. Second master was his white moonlight. However, according to the order of events, our Mr. Zhang is about to appear. Now that Huaxiong has suffered a new defeat, why not seize the opportunity to pursue him and take his head off Dongzhuo's neck? As expected, Zhang Sanyi appeared very smoothly. Boldly, our ministers are still here to be humble. How dare you, a county magistrate subordinate, show off your might here? Someone, take these two people out. Yuan Shu was originally a narrow-minded person. How could he have ignored Zhang Fei's actions and immediately spoke up to stop him? At this moment, Pan Feng was not good at speaking. Anyway, he was just a general under Han Fu, one of the 18 feudal lords. This scene still had to be handed over to Boss Chow. Therefore, he turned his eyes to Boss Chow, who did not disappoint anyone at all. He stepped forward and said, "Those who receive merit will be rewarded, why bother with their background?" Yuan Shu didn't want to fight this battle anymore. As soon as he heard Chow Chow say this, he immediately had an excuse. Since that's the case, I'll just leave. After speaking, he turned around and left directly. Chow Chow looked bewildered, and Pan Feng immediately said, "Chow Gong, why is this necessary?" You. Chow Chow was extremely angry. Good guy, it was clearly Pan Feng who started this matter, but in the end, it was his own fault. When Liu Bei heard Yuan Shu say this, he didn't care. He pulled the two brothers and retreated directly. Pan Feng didn't care what was happening behind him and followed him out. Not long after following Liu Bei out, Liu Bei turned around and bowed his hand in gratitude. Thank you very much, General Pan, just now. If it weren't for General Pan's recommendation, my second brother wouldn't have had the opportunity to show his abilities. Where, Duke Xuanda spoke heavily. As the saying goes, pearls sink in the sea, the blind get a mirror. The three brothers of Duke Xuanda were all heroes of the time, but they were humiliated like this, which truly made Pan deeply regretful. Good guy, Pan Feng said half of the idioms he knew in one breath, but these words were quite useful. Liu Bei and the other three expressed gratitude and invited Pan Feng to eat at the mansion. Of course, Pan Feng was not so foolish. He didn't need to do this now because there was a person named Han Fu pressing on his head. That is his lord. In this world, loyalty and righteousness are quite important, which is also one of the reasons why Second Lord is revered as a god by future generations. If he left Han Fu alone and had no clear understanding with Liu Bei and others, it would be difficult to justify it. If he wants to establish himself in this era, he must always abide by the rules of this era. Pan Feng politely declined Liu Bei's invitation, stating that he would come to visit another day, and then return to his own tent. Inside the tent, Han Fu was already furious. When he saw Pan Feng return, he directly asked someone to take him down. Lord, last general, I don't know what's wrong. Pan Feng was shocked and quickly defended himself. I don't know what's wrong. I ask you, why did you let someone else take the credit for today's incident, even though you were supposed to behead that Huaxiong? Now that someone else has taken the credit, how can I face this? Han Fu shouted loudly. What should I do at this time? Pan Feng can't say he can't beat it, can he? If you haven't even fought yet, you'll say you can't fight. When I ask you how you know, can you tell him that this is the romance of the three kingdoms? You've read this book countless times, so you definitely can't fight. That also needs to be trusted, Pan Feng thought to herself, scheming. My lord wrongly blamed the last general. The last general did this in order to replace my lord and win over the three brothers Lu Guanzhang. These three brothers are all heroes of the time. If they receive this help, they will surely achieve hegemony in the future. Upon hearing this, Han Fu asked in reverse. What can a small county magistrate and his 2 horse archers help me achieve? I see you talking nonsense and deceiving. Come on, drag it down, it's a heavy staff of 40. Chapter 3. I have General Pan Feng, who can slay LV Bu. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Pan Feng was shocked when he heard this. He didn't know if Pan Feng could withstand the 40 army staff, but he definitely couldn't. He immediately argued loudly. Master Tolerance, whether you don't see Yuan Shao treating Liu Bei with respect and courtesy, it shows that he has outstanding qualities. Han Fu listened, looked at Pan Feng, thought for a moment, and then asked. What kind of person is Liu Bei? Didn't you hear anyone say that? After King Jing of Zhongshan, Emperor Shaojing of the Great Han Dynasty was the great-grandson. If one day he really killed the Dong thief, Liu Bei would enter the capital to face him. Even His Majesty back then could be called Uncle Huang. If this person could make good friends with him, he would definitely be helpful in the future. Pan Feng said with great certainty. Upon hearing what you said, Japan really looked up at Liu Bei at first. Oh, no, you weren't there when this happened. Why did you know? Han Fu suddenly realized that this matter was a bit complicated. Someone told me at the time. Pan Feng stuttered and replied. Oh, that's right too. Han Fu nodded and then continued to ask. Do you think we can win over Dong Thief this time? Sorry, I guess Dong Zhuo is going to make a big move. Pan Feng answered. Big movement. What is it, big movement? Okay, Han Fu couldn't understand these words at the time. Master, I don't know. There is a strategist under Dong Zhuo's command, surnamed Li Mingru, who is quite cunning. With this person around, we can't win. Pan Feng replied. Does Li Ru have such skills? Han Fu didn't quite believe it. They joined forces with the 18 feudal lords to fight against Dong, but because of such a prominent figure, they returned in vain. How could it be possible? There are many people with great abilities in this world. Lord, let's take our time to see. As for the 18 feudal lords, each of us has their own thoughts. How many of them really came to suppress Dong Zhuo? Lord, please make plans early. Pan Feng advanced and said. Han Fu was dumbfounded. He felt like he didn't quite know the Pan Feng in front of him. You know, Pan Feng used to be good at fighting before, and he never expected that he still had this kind of mindset. However, although he had doubts in his heart, the current situation didn't give him too much time to consider these things, because when Hua Xiong fell, they would soon enter the Tiger Prison Pass. Hulao Pass is adjacent to Songyue in the south and the Yellow River in the north, with mountains and ridges intertwined, forming a natural danger. There is a great momentum of one man guarding the pass, 10,000 men cannot open it, which has been a battleground for military strategists throughout history. This time, the gatekeeper is also the first fierce general in the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, Lu Bu, who is known as Lu Bu among people, Red Rabbit among horses, and of course, Red Rabbit Horse. Because he was going to deal with LV Bu, Pan Feng didn't have much nervousness because in the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, Han Fu did not march into Hulao. But last time because I recommended Guaniri, what if Yuan Shao personally asked me to go? Last time Huaxiong almost sent me away, and this time LV Bu, Yuan Shao must have sent me again. I need to think of a way, let Lu Guanzhang go up first, and let them fight against LV Bu 3 times first. Pan Feng bid farewell to Han Fu and returned to her own tent. She began to ponder again, no, this doesn't count. With such a great credit, should I also get a share of the pie? Yes, we need to think of a way. We can have a 4 English battle against Lu Bu, a 3 English battle against Lu Bu, and there won't be a winner. If we add me and win, wouldn't that be? The more Pan Feng thought about it, the more excited he became, as if his days of fame were approaching. However, before the 18 route marquises attacked the Tiger prison, our Yuan Grand Alliance leader would encounter the second biggest setback in his life. The first major one would naturally be the Battle of Guandu. This time, it was enough for him to remember deeply for his entire life, and the person who came up with this idea this time was Li Ru. 3 days later, bad news came that Yuan Shao's entire family had been killed by Dong Zhuo. Yuan Shao spat out old blood on the table and then waved the flag, lighting the 8 feudal lords. Wait for the 8th route, join forces and head to Hulao Pass to face the enemy. On the other hand, Dong Zhuo sent LV Bu and Li Ru, with a total of 150,000 soldiers, to go to Hulao. Originally, this matter was like this. There was no Han Fu among the 8 feudal lords, but Han Fu thought about the previous incident in Huaxiong and did not receive much credit. He even volunteered to join the enemy. Yuan Shao thought for a moment and felt that Pan Feng seemed to have some skills. He agreed, which made Pan Feng half angry. What a troublemaker. I won't stop until I kill him. I need to find a way to leave him. If we keep going like this, even if we don't die at Tiger Prison, we will eventually die on the battlefield. Pan Feng now dislikes Han Fu, the protagonist, more and more. He feels that this kid only has one idea now, which is to send him to the pit of fire. Pan Feng is constantly sighing, and he can understand why the Pan Feng in the 3 kingdoms died. Han Fu likes to make a name for himself, but he hasn't even beaten any of them. He wants to come out and say something. I have General Pan Feng, who can slay Hua Xiong. Don't he know how much Pan Feng has? He must know, so he insisted on giving Pan Feng away in order to show off. But now this has happened. As a pioneer, he has no choice but to follow his master who has said he will go. Then, both sides set up formations in front of Hulao Pass, starting the Battle of Lu Guanzhang's fame. Dong Zhuo stood on the city wall, and LV Bu rode up to the front of the formation. He pointed his square-drawn halberd to this side and looked at the people and horses of the feudal lords, shouting loudly. You rats, come and die quickly. Upon seeing it, Yuan Shao shouted loudly. Who dares to go to war? A big man walked out of the account and arched his hand, saying. I will be willing to go. After finishing speaking, Yuan Shao turned around and asked, Who is this person? The person next to me replied. Famous general in Hanoi, Feng Yu. I saw Feng Yu leaping over his horse and carrying a gun, rushing out of the formation and heading straight towards Lu Bu in front of the formation. Lu Bu also rode up and met the 2 generals. Lu Bu swung a halberd, and Feng Yu's long spear broke into 2 pieces. The halberd hit Feng Yu's shoulder directly. Lu Bu pulled back, and a small branch on the edge of the halberd caught Feng Yu, pulling him off the horse and killing him on the spot. The 2 clashed only once, urging Dong Jun to go up with a few small soldiers and retrieve Feng Yu's body. This side was not yet cleaned up, and a person rushed out of the formation, holding a long sword and shouting loudly. Lu Buxiu, leave and give back my brother's life. Before the battle, Dong Zhuo fought 3 times with LV Bu. Finally, the horse under his crotch dragged his body back, and several other generals emerged, all defeated by LV Bu. Dong Zhuo was very proud on the city wall. Seeing LV Bu's bravery, Yuan Shao was surprised in his heart, and then let out a long sigh and said. Unfortunately, our general Yan Liangwenka is not in the formation. Otherwise, we would definitely be able to execute LV Bu and capture the old thief alive. At this moment, Han Fu walked out and arched his hand, saying. Alliance leader, when we killed Hua Xiong a few times ago, our General Pan Feng did not participate in the battle. Today, we will let him participate in the battle and behead LV Bu. He will fight against Dong Dajuan for me and make this immortal achievement. Damn it. Chapter 4. Let's watch me fight against Lu Bu. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Okay, General Pan, although Hua Xiong did not participate in the last battle, he still made remarkable achievements. Today's battle, let me see, General's divine power. After hearing this, Yuan Shao was very happy. In his eyes, Pan Feng could tell at a glance that Guan Yu was not simple, and he himself was definitely not an ordinary person. At least that's what Yuan Shao thought. And now, he really wants to see what abilities this Pan Feng has. If he really has good abilities, then Han Fu is not a big shot. Yuan Shao asked him if he wants someone, but he still needs to come through. This. Pan Feng was a bit embarrassed. With his abilities, he didn't even pass 3 moves on Hua Xiong, let alone LV Bu. It was estimated that after going up, LV Bu could smash himself with a single halberd. General Pan, what are the difficulties? Yuan Shao hesitated when he saw Pan Feng and asked. Ah. Oh, no, I will comply. There's no way, now it's time to put the ducks on the shelves. He must do it. As he left, he muttered to himself. We must find a way to leave now. We can't follow behind Han Fu anymore. This kid has a single mind. I won't give up until I kill him. I really suspect that I'm in the game now. Han Fu's mission is to kill me, his grandmother. Turning over and mounting his horse, 2 small soldiers came over with mountain axes. He reached out to take them, clapped his horse, and headed straight towards the front line. When he arrived at the front line, he saw Lu Guan and Zhang looking at Lu Bu in front of the line. Zhang Fei's angry eyes widened, looking eager to try. Brother Ida, are you? Do you want to go up and meet this Lu Bu? Pan Feng rushed over and asked Zhang Fei a question. Exactly, I have been wanting to slay these 3 families' slaves for a long time. Zhang Fei replied. It's easy to say. The leader asked me to go and kill Lu Bu, Brother Ida. Do you want to meet him for a while? Pan Feng is going to use this 3rd Lord Zhang as a gunner. He naturally knows that he is not a match for Lu Bu, but although Zhang Fei has never fought before, at least he won't have any problems. It would definitely be better for him to go than for himself. After listening, Zhang Fei turned his head to look at Pan Feng and said disdainfully. The previous time, Yuan Shao asked you to go to Huaxiong, but you didn't go to war. Instead, my second brother went. Today, I asked you to go to meet LV Bu, but you didn't go. You want me to go to war. I think you, as a general, probably got it this way. If you're afraid, just be frank, someone will fight for you. Zhang Fei is a straightforward person. When Pan Feng asked Guan Yu to go, it can be said that he wanted to give Guan Yu the opportunity to perform meritorious deeds. The main reason is that Hua Xiong has not passed a few moves and doesn't seem like a character, but Lu Bu is well known. Pan Feng still wants to play this kind of trick, but it seems that he is afraid. Ida is Ida. If Pan Feng only has such a little ability, then Huaxiong is naturally not a problem, but Lu Bu, I am not a match. But since Ida said so, even if this trip is a death, I have no complaints. Pan Feng said he was about to move forward, but Liu Bei saw it and stepped forward to stop him. General Pan, that's not what my 3rd brother meant. We are very grateful for the matter in Huaxiong. Today we will meet with LV Bu, General. You can rest assured that we, the 3 brothers, will lend you a helping hand. Unexpectedly, Liu Bei was quite loyal, which moved Pan Feng deeply and he repeatedly bowed. Okay, then I'll go up first, 3 of you help me. After finishing speaking, Pan Feng rode away and Yuan Shao smiled and said. It seems that General Pan Feng really has some skills. After this, he has no fear at all. Today, we have a feast for our eyes. Pan Feng rode up to the front of the formation, holding a mountain axe, and shouted towards Lu Bu. 3 surnames of domestic slaves, today next year will be your anniversary. When Pan Feng first came here, he didn't have too many abusive words. He couldn't directly curse CNM at Lu Bu, right? The other party may not understand either. Besides, if he really understood, with LV Bu's temper, he would probably tear apart Pan Feng's mouth. Pan Feng's words were a bit modern, which left Lu Bu stunned for a moment. He didn't say anything later and directly said to Pan Feng, "I won't slay the unknown under my halberd, quickly report my name." "Your grandfather, my name is Pan Feng. Remember my grandfather's name. If you see him later, hurry up and run with your tail between your legs." After Pan Feng finished speaking, he immediately rode up the horse. Zhang Fei was still a bit reluctant to go up, and Liu Bei immediately said, "Third brother, General Pan and the three of us had a favor yesterday. Go help him quickly. Don't let that Lu Bu hurt General Pan." Zhang Fei has always listened to Liu Bei, so he couldn't help but come over and kill him directly. Pan Feng took a cautious look here. When he was on the field, he changed to a different horse, which was a bit lame and I don't know where to find it. It didn't run fast. Yuan Shao saw it and patted his thigh. "Not good, why did General Pan ride such a bad horse? Han Wenjie, you can't match him with a good horse either. Han Fu is so unjust. He doesn't know why Pan Feng rode such a horse. This horse runs slowly." When he first touched Lu Bu, Zhang Fei behind him had already rushed to the door with a spear, without saying a word. Lu Bu was about to move Pan Feng with his long halberd when he saw Zhang Fei killing him. He lifted his halberd and stopped them, then swept them back and forced them to retreat. Following closely behind was another downward slash, heading towards Pan Feng. Pan Feng lifted his spear to block it, and immediately felt a strong and heavy force. His tiger's mouth tingled, and his hands couldn't exert any force. This Lu Bu is too terrifying, and Pan Feng can't stop it with this halberd. After seeing this, Zhang Fei lifted his spear and relieved half of Pan Feng's strength. Pan Feng gritted his teeth and pushed the halberd back, then swept the axe horizontally, forcing Lu Bu to retreat. Zhang Fei also stabbed him with a spear. Upon seeing it, LV Bu took 2 steps back and picked up his spear with one hand to pry open Zhang Fei's spear. Then, he wielded his spear with both hands and struck it down, which was much stronger than the one he had just struck at Pan Feng. Zhang Fei lifted his spear to block the horse under his crotch, causing it to stumble and almost fall. When Guan Yu saw it from behind, he was shocked. "My third younger brother's skills are not inferior to mine. I didn't expect Lu Bu to be so brave. Big brother, please wait a moment and see if I can help my third younger brother." After finishing speaking, Liu Bei arrived with a horse and a green dragon sword in his hand, directly striking Huaxiong. The three of them surrounded LV Bu for a while and fought fiercely. Seeing that the three of them could not fight against LV Bu, Liu Bei grabbed his sword and rode towards him. The 4 of them surrounded LV Bu with their guns and spears, which was truly spectacular. At this moment, Pan Feng shook her heart again and thought to herself, "These 3 heroes could have defeated Lu Bu, so this battle is sure to win, and it is a great opportunity for me to make a name for myself." Thinking of this, he suddenly exerted force, jumped high from the horse's back, raised his mountain axe in both hands, and shouted loudly, "Lu Bu, little child, take this axe from Grandpa Pan." Pan Feng drew a beautiful arc in the air with a long axe in his hand, and with the strength of Pan Feng's leap, he directly swung towards Lu Bu, who was surrounded by Lu Guanzhang, with a head-to-head attack. Chapter 5. Me, Pan Feng, injured LV Bu. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Pan Feng's axe was so powerful that it hit Lu Bu head on and covered his face. Lu Bu was completely focused on dealing with the 3 brothers Lu Guan and Zhang. When he saw Pan Feng, it was too late to resist, so he swept a halberd and forced the 3 of them to retreat, then restrained his horse and left. Pan Feng saw that it was obvious that he couldn't cut it, but he couldn't stop. This axe was solid and struck the ground. Although Pan Feng's martial arts were not very good, he still had the strength. When he struck the ground with this axe, the handle of the mountain axe broke directly. After it broke, the axe flew towards Lu Bu. This moment was too sudden, and Lu Bu didn't react at all. The axe cut open his arm, and in an instant, blood poured out. Hurry up, Ming Jin. Dong Zhuo, who was standing above the city wall, saw that Lv Bu was injured and quickly called in his troops. Upon seeing this, Lu Guanzhang and his 3 companions immediately rode up on horseback, and a large army rushed out from behind, chasing all the way to the bottom of the city wall. They were blocked by the moat and then retreated back to the camp. This time, not only did Lu Guanzhang and his 3 become famous, but also Pan Feng injured Lv Bu. You should know that before this, no one had ever injured Lv Bu a penny, and Pan Feng did it. Before the Tiger Prison Pass was even completed, Yuan Shao won such a small victory. However, he withdrew his troops and was surprised by Cao Cao nearby. He quickly spoke up. "Leader, now that the morale of the soldiers is high, why not achieve it overnight and capture the Tiger Prison Pass?" Meng Da's words are not accurate. We have heard that the poor bandits will not be pursued, and Lu Bu will be defeated. The Hulao Pass will inevitably strengthen its guard. If we forcefully attack the city at this time, it would be unwise. We will make further adjustments and slowly plan for it. Yuan Shao waved his hand to reject Cao Cao's proposal and even held a celebration banquet. In this battle, Pan Feng's reputation was greatly enhanced, and he formed a deep friendship with Lu Guan and Zhang. This made Han Fu's heart tighten and he couldn't help feeling a bit displeased. When it comes to this ancient wine, it is indeed not very good. Pan Feng drank a lot, but there was nothing wrong with it. However, he saw many people drinking too much and returning to the camp after the banquet, but Pan Feng was deeply concerned. Although the matter between Huaxiong and Lv Bu has passed, there will definitely be more incidents like this in the future. I was able to get through these 2 dangerous situations because there were 3 brothers, Lu Guan and Zhang, but they couldn't have met me for a lifetime. So I still need to find a way. Anyway, when the 2 generals in front of the army battle, I have to go through it. How can I ensure that everything is safe? Pan Feng tossed and turned, unable to sleep, constantly thinking about how to be invincible in these 3 kingdoms. At this moment, a gun came to his mind. Gun. This gun, of course, is not the kind of gun used by Zhao Yunshi, but a true fire gun. However, given the current conditions, even if it were to be made, Pan Feng probably could only make 1 gun, but that was enough. If there could be a firearm, before charging into the formation, it would be enough to directly kill the opponent with 1 shot. As long as there is a firearm, not to mention Lv Bu, even if the Heavenly King Laozi comes, it is still a matter of 1 shot. As soon as he said it and thought of it, Pan Feng immediately became interested. He sat up and came to the desk, took out a pen and paper, and began drawing. This gun can't be made too much like a gun. If it's a long weapon, just make it a long gun and look like a long gun. Pan Feng muttered while painting, if this gun is fixed, what will happen to the gunpowder? Gunpowder. After thinking for a moment, Pan Feng found a soldier and asked. Is there sulfur in the camp? Yes, there has always been a spark. The soldier nodded. Quickly, take me over and take a look. Pan Feng became interested and walked over to see that there was indeed a large amount of sulfur. However, Han Fu also caught his eye on this scene. However, Pan Feng, who was overjoyed now, did not think so much. He had already started making gunpowder. He first went to look for several old walls, scraped many white crystals from them, dissolved them in water, removed sand and mud, and then heated them to evaporate, and thus obtained potassium nitrate. As for charcoal, it's easy to handle. You can easily get it, grind it all into powder, mix it in proportion, and bring a little open flame. In an instant, it burned up, with a black flame mixed with red, bringing a smell of sulfur, which made Pan Feng excited. I didn't expect to succeed on the first attempt. Pan Feng was very happy that the gunpowder had been made, but there were not many raw materials, especially potassium nitrate, so the amount of gunpowder was not large. Now that he has gunpowder, the next step is to make this special weapon. His mountain axe has broken, which gives him an opportunity to have craftsmen help him make a weighing weapon. In order to make it, he plans to draw blueprints overnight. When drawing the blueprint, he also had a cunning idea. He drew it separately according to the parts, and had the craftsman create them separately. After creating them, he could assemble them himself. After the final blueprint was produced, it looked similar to a long gun, but it was hollow and had rifling inside. In fact, it was a long firearm, and when pressed, the gun head fired bullets. General, this gun handle is made of high-quality iron. I understand the old man, but you still require a hollow one. Isn't this hollow one more easily damaged? The craftsman is an old man in his 60s, and when he saw the blueprint of Pan Feng's gun handle, he was somewhat puzzled. Hey, old man, don't worry about what this is for. Just follow this and do it. After doing it well, I won't treat you unfairly. Don't worry. Pan Feng patted the craftsman's shoulder. The old man rushed to work overnight and spent a whole 7 days finally getting the long gun and its accessories ready. Pan Feng took the accessories back, assembled them, loaded them with gunpowder, and then used the bullet-shaped iron particles made by the craftsman to fit into the muzzle of the gun and try them out in an empty place. Pop. It's quite useful, but the accuracy is not that high, but it's already very good. Anyway, during the battle before the battle, both sides would love to poke their weapons into each other's throat. At such a distance, accuracy doesn't need to be considered by him at all. But the problem now is that he can only use up to 4 rounds of gunpowder in his hand. Before that, he needs to find more raw materials. While he was making new weapons, there was a problem with Sun Jian's army attacking Sisui Pass. Yuan Shu, the governor of the province, was jealous of his talents and did not distribute food and supplies to Sun Jian. Sun Jian suffered a great defeat and even suffered a great defeat, which angered General Zhu Mao. Later, when he met Dong Zhuo for marriage, he became even more unhappy and angrily beheaded the envoy. Dong Zhuo's proposal for marriage was unsuccessful, and the plan to overthrow the 18 feudal lords fell through. At a helpless moment, Li Ru offered a plan to relocate the capital, setting fire to Luoyang and relocating it to Changlin. This made Cao Cao anxious and immediately advised Yuan Shao to pursue Dong Zhuo as soon as possible, rescue the young master, and return to the old capital. However, Yuan Shao stopped him. When Cao Cao was feeling depressed, he led his men and horses to pursue him without authorization. Pan Feng was planning to go out and find a place to try out new weapons when he suddenly saw Cao Cao being ambushed by Li Ru and running away in a disheveled manner, feeling delighted. Isn't this sent to the door to test weapons? Chapter 6. Me, Pan Feng, confused Boss Chow. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This translator is experiencing an error, please try another translator. Chapter 7. Hello, Han Fu. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Although Pan Feng was a great general of Han Fu, he was not his confidant. When Han Fu saw this general under his command pressing down on him at this banquet and daring to speak nonsense, he felt ashamed and ordered someone to take Pan Feng and kill him directly. With a loud shout, 2 small soldiers came up and were about to take Pan Feng. Although Pan Feng was not a famous general, it was not something that 1 or 2 small soldiers could take down. When he saw these 2 soldiers coming up, he immediately drew his sword from his waist. Enough. At this moment, Cao Cao became angry. He patted the table, stood up, and shouted to the feudal lords. You are all lords from one side, knowledgeable and insightful, but not as capable as generals who go to battle to kill the enemy. General Pan is not wrong. This time, we have indeed lost the hope of the world, the hope of the world. After speaking, he attended and walked to the entrance of the large tent. He then turned his head to look at the crowd, with a look of disdain in his eyes. More importantly, he was not angry, and then went straight out of the tent, reciting loudly. There are righteous soldiers in the Kanto region who raise their armies to fight against the group of criminals. In the early days, I joined the alliance with Tianjin, but my heart was in Xianyang. The army's combined strength is uneven, hesitating and flying geese. Greed makes people argue, but heirs also harm each other. The title of Huainan younger brother, engraved with a seal in the north. Armor gives birth to lice, and the surname Wan dies. White bones exposed in the wilderness, thousands of miles without rooster crowing. 100 living people are left behind, and their hearts are broken by their thoughts. Good guy, when it comes to pretending to be, Pan Feng still obeys Cao Cao. Cao Cao's lines were snatched by him, but he can still turn this scene around. This poem, Hua Xiong, suddenly expresses Cao Cao's state of mind at this time. For now, he still hopes to help the Han family and promote Han and Lu. As Cao Cao walked, Han Fu looked at Pan Feng and waved his hand, asking the two people who had just come in to take Pan Feng to step back. Pan Feng saw that this was for him to step down, and he was not an ignorant person. He arched his hand and said to Yuan Shao. Leader, I drank too much today. If I stay any longer, I'm afraid I'll make another mistake. I'll leave first. As the words fell, he stumbled out of the tent and headed towards his own camp, drinking some alcohol. In addition, in the past few days, Pan Feng had not slept well to deal with this firearm. He had a few drinks today, and this drowsiness suddenly came over. After returning to his tent, he fell asleep. Pan Feng, who was sleeping deeply, was suddenly awakened by the sound of swordsmen intersecting. He shook his head and sat up, picked up the water bag next to him, took a sip, and asked. What's going on outside? It's so noisy. Can't anyone sleep anymore? At this moment, a personal soldier rushed in from outside, who was Pan Feng's personal guard, covered in blood. He rushed in and said to Pan Feng. General. Hurry up, Lord wants to kill you. After finishing speaking, he died directly in front of Pan Feng. In this moment, Pan Feng woke up drunk and immediately picked up his gun, which looked like a long spear. He poured gunpowder into it, stabbed it with a sign, and put the bullet in. At that moment, Han Fu's voice came. Pan Feng, hurry up and surrender. You can still have Paul's entire body. With a firearm in his hand, Pan Feng is not afraid. Even if he cannot kill all of you, at least he has weapons in his hand that can intimidate them. They have not seen firearms yet, so taking people's lives from more than 10 steps away will definitely shock them. Wearing armor and holding a firearm, Pan Feng slowly walked out of the tent. There were hundreds of torches outside the tent, illuminating the area like daylight. The other party was the leader, and the horizontal sword immediately stood in front of the formation. It was none other than Pan Feng's lord, Han Fu. Master, Feng, I don't know what's wrong. Pan Feng flipped over and mounted his horse, walked to the front of the formation, arched his hand and said. I don't know what's wrong. You have a deep friendship with Lu Guanzhang and the other 3 people. Today, you went out without permission to save Cao Cao, and even spoke loudly before the banquet. I see you have been thinking the opposite way for a long time. If you don't eradicate you today, it may be a big problem for me, Han Fu, in the future. Han Fu raised his gun and pointed it at Pan Feng, shouting loudly. I have never had any ulterior motives. I have a good friendship with Lu Guanzhang because I have a comradeship with them. As for rescuing Mengda, it is only occasional. Before the banquet, I drank too much and now I completely forget it. How can I take these words after drinking seriously? Pan Feng asked in reverse. Stop talking nonsense, today I will take your head off your neck. Han Fu didn't dare to listen. He came straight over and wanted to take Pan Feng's head. When Pan Feng saw it, he also shouted loudly. Okay, Han Fu, you're so unreasonable. Anyway, I've made various military achievements for you, but today you're going to kill me and me. Okay, since that's the case, then let's see the truth under your hands. After finishing speaking, he also jumped up the horse. When the two weapons intersected, Pan Feng sent the long spear forward, straight at Han Fu's shoulder, and then pulled the trigger. The firearm was fired directly, and the bullet pierced Han Fu's shoulder. Han Fu flipped over and fell off the horse, then shouted loudly. Kill him for me. As the words fell, hundreds of people behind Han Fu came straight to kill the general. Pan Feng dared not block them, without hesitation, turned around and ran. Upon seeing it, Han Fu spoke loudly. Those who have obtained the head of Pan Feng will be rewarded with 2,000 silver coins and promoted to the rank of colonel. As the words fell, those people seemed to go crazy and headed towards Pan Feng. Without thinking, Pan Feng flipped over and mounted his horse, heading straight outside the camp. In this way, the 18 feudal lords who were fighting against Dong began to distrust each other, and soon fell into disarray and fragmentation. Sun Jian died at the hands of Liu Biao, just as he had said to cover up the transmission of the national jade seal. He ultimately died under a stray arrow. Xiao Mao was killed by the governor of Yenzhou, Lu Dai, and Han Fu was seriously injured. When he returned, he found that his Jizhou had been lost. In the end, he had to hastily surrender to Zhang Miao. Yuan Shao and Gong Xuanzan even surrendered directly to Dong Zhuo. The outcome of the 18 good feudal lords is truly heartbreaking. Pan Feng ran wildly all the way, with hundreds of people chasing after him relentlessly, and at this moment, only one person remained beside him. Faced with Han Fu's pursuit, the two of them naturally had no chance and could only run forward, unknowingly reaching the territory of Yenzhou. People were trapped in Ma Fa, and as they were about to be caught up, a team suddenly appeared ahead. The person in front looked up at Pan Feng, hesitated for a moment, and then loudly said, Changlin, don't come safely. Upon hearing this, Pan Feng looked around and found that he was the only one beside him named GC. GC's character was not Changlin, which seemed to be referring to him. He immediately felt happy. It's just that the characters are a bit awkward, Pan Changlin. A melody came to Pan Feng's mind. A winding river in front of my sister. But now is not the time to sing. Since the guy in front of me knows me, isn't this my own way of life? So he shouted loudly. Help me. There was no hesitation on the other side. The leader waved his hand and thousands of people rushed over from behind. The pursuers who were chasing after Pan Feng saw so many people coming over, and without hesitation, they turned around and ran, learning from Pan Feng. Compared to money, being alive is the most important thing. Thank you very much for your help, brother. Finally getting rid of the pursuers, Pan Feng arched his hand and thanked the man. Brother. Changlin, you didn't want to throw yellow scarves with me back then. You just turned around and brought the official army to suppress me. Now that I've met you, do you want to be strangers? Someone, take them down. Tomorrow we'll fight against Yujin. I want to take the head of Pan Feng and Pan Changlin as a sacrifice flag. Chapter 8. I, Pan Feng, want to join the Yellow Turban Army. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Upon hearing this, Pan Feng's heart was half cold. I finally met someone I knew and even drove away Han Fu's pursuers, but this guy turned out to be an enemy. What is this called? This is just coming out of the wolf's den and back into the tiger's den. Seeing her life in danger, Pan Feng observed for a while, wanting to know some information she wanted. Wait, he just said he wants to fight Yujin. Yujin should be in Yenzhou at this time. Look at their costumes, they look strange and wearing yellow headscarves, it seems they are the Yellow Turban Army. The Yellow Turban Army in Yenzhou. Two names entered Pan Feng's mind. Su He and Sima Ju. Lu Dai died in their hands. Is this Su He or Sima Ju in front of me? He observed and saw the general in front of him, dressed in heavy armor and holding a long spear. It is said that Sima Ju won by strategy, so he should be a strategist. Is this Su He in front of him? With a try-and-see attitude, Pan Feng smiled. Brother Su, it wasn't me who took people to suppress you back then. I was also forced. What? You're not calling me brother anymore. You recognize me. Unexpectedly, Pan Feng was just that naive person. He immediately accompanied his smiling face. I'm not doing well, I'm afraid you'll laugh. Are you afraid I'll laugh? That's not what you said when you brought the official army to suppress me back then. Su He's face was gloomy and cold. No, this is not my fault. They arrested my mother at the time. What can I do? Damn it, your mother is already dead. Where did you come from? Good guy, Pan Feng still wants to make up some nonsense, but he didn't know he ended up in a dead end. He quickly changed his tune. I didn't think I recognized another godmother later. Goddess. Who is it? Upon hearing this, Su He continued to ask. The widow from the east end of the village. Every village has widows, especially in this era, where many men in the family die. Village East End. Widow Wang or Widow Li. Look, you got it right. Pan Feng was secretly pleased in her heart and then replied. Of course it's Widow Wang. Can I recognize Widow Li? Do you consider Wang widow as a godmother? What a godmother Wang, are you interested in her? Upon hearing this, Su He made a joke, but Pan Feng was overjoyed. He got it right again, and so on. Wang Ganyang. Upon hearing the three words Wang Ganyang, I suddenly thought of the popular story in another famous work, which also includes Wang Ganyang and is the center line of the entire story. He, look at what you're saying, how could it be? Pan Feng quickly answered. Oh, so what? I have never forgotten what you did to me that day. Pan Feng is foolish. What did she do to you? Can't that be you? Pan Feng has this hobby. No way. On second thought, Su He was still alive, which proves that he did not push himself to death at that time. Isn't that true? There is still a chance, and he immediately said. Brother Su, you see what you're saying. How could I have done such a thing? With multiple friends and multiple paths, you are my back path. How could I cut off my own back path? Think again, how did you escape back then? Speaking of which, Su He was taken aback for a moment. After thinking for a moment, he finally remembered that memory and asked. Do you mean that you shot the arrow on my helmet tassel on purpose? What do you think? You and I are so familiar, what skills do you have? You don't know. Of course I know, you have never surpassed me. Su He immediately replied. But I haven't lost to anyone else either. The Su brothers don't know about my riding and shooting skills. After hearing this, Su He looked at Pan Feng with some suspicion and then confirmed. What you said is true. Finally, upon hearing this, Pan Feng Chang breathed a sigh of relief and raised 3 fingers as an oath. I, Pan Changlin, swear to the heavens that every word I say to my brother Su He is true. If there is any false statement, the heavens will strike with lightning and I will not die easily. After taking the oath, I thought to myself. This oath was made by Pan Changlin. I am Pan Feng, and it has nothing to do with me. If you really want to chop, you'll chop him. With this oath, Su He finally believed it and quickly came over to help him up. Brother Changlin, we grew up together. How could I not know your intentions? It was just a deliberate attempt to test you. At this moment, Pan Feng's heart finally settled, and with his 3-inch eloquence, he finally overcame another difficult situation. At this moment, The sound of horse hooves was urgent not far away, and he quickly put people on guard. Surprisingly, only more than 10 riders came over. Pan Feng's eyes were sharp, and she could tell at a glance that she had followed her before. She quickly said, "Brother Su, don't take any action, it's your own person." After speaking, he welcomed him up. "The person who came here is called Qing Yuan, who is also under his command. He and GC, who followed him before, are the 2 subordinates he trusts the most. General, are you okay?" "That's good." Qing Yuan dismounted and breathed a sigh of relief when he saw that Pan Feng was fine. It's okay, it's okay. Come on, these are my fellow villagers' friends, Su and Commander Su." After listening, Qing Yuan quickly stepped forward and arched his hand, saying, "I have seen Su Tongling. Hey, what's wrong with this? My Pan brothers are also old friends from the same hometown, so there's no need for that." Upon hearing this, he was very happy. They were all from the official army and were naturally rare talents. As soon as he thought of this, he turned his head to look at Pan Feng. "Changlin, I heard you injured LV Bu. Everyone says he has extraordinary courage. What skills do you have? How could I not know why he let you hurt him?" It is well known that Pan Feng injured LV Bu, which is not a bad thing for him, but for Pan Feng now, it is definitely not a good thing. Because in this era, generals like to pick famous ones to fight, and once they win, they become famous in one battle. Now, they can be considered as being targeted by many people. Actually, then Lu Bu is just a name in vain, and I'm just hitting him blindly. What else would you say? Saying it's just a coincidence. This is just too coincidental, it sounds like perfunctory. Upon hearing Pan Feng's words, he was overjoyed and turned to Sima Ju beside him, saying, "Let me tell you what, I know what Pan Feng has. This LV Bu must be in vain. When I have the chance to meet him, I'll see if I can kill him." "Okay, you can strike in formation. If you encounter LV Bu, you can go up." "I won't go up anyway." Pan Feng silently recited in her heart. At this point, a small school came forward to report. Report to General Su. Yuban has led 5,000 troops and horses, approaching our army's main camp. What? Eugene came so fast. His mother, this guy is a bit tricky. He has been chasing us for 2 months, but he still refuses to let us go. After speaking, he looked at Pan Feng and patted his shoulder. "Changlin, you go back to the camp with Mr. Sima first, and I will lead the elite troops to meet the enemy first." After finishing speaking, Pan Feng flipped over and mounted his horse, directly leading the large army away. Only then did his heart truly settle, but as he turned his head to look at Sima Ju, this newly settled heart immediately hung up again. Chapter 9. Me, Pan Feng, my name is Pan Changlin. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This translator is experiencing an error, please try another translator. Chapter 10. Me, Pan Feng, defeated Eugene. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After he finished speaking, he ordered 500 light cavalry to give to Pan Feng. Helpless, Pan Feng had to bring his more than 10 cavalry and lead these 500 light cavalry towards the outside of the camp. "My lord, I don't want him to live." Sima Ju immediately sensed He's thoughts. "Don't worry, I know better than you who Pan Feng is. He can't die, but a lesson is still needed." Pan Feng's heart skipped a beat as he galloped across the horses, before the 2 armies could engage in battle. Who is the other party? Eugene, as Pan Feng himself said, is he a famous general anyway? Although he ultimately lost to Guaneri and was captured, was it wrong to lose to Guaneri? That's Guaneri, so even if he has a firearm in his hand, he doesn't have much confidence in the face of such a ban. This can be considered as the first fierce general he truly faced after coming here. When rescuing Cao Cao before, he was shot dead with one shot, but he had never heard of that person's name, so he definitely wasn't a famous general. Previously, whether it was Huaxiong or LV Bu, he saved the day with his own quick wit, but this time, he had to face it on his own. Can he not fight this battle? Of course he can just turn his head and run, with his own 10 or so cavalry. Those 500 light cavalry will definitely not follow him. But if he really runs away, what will he do in the future? In this era where fame is more important than life, he may not be able to hold his head high for the rest of his life. You should know that a famous general like Eugene, who was captured once and ultimately humiliated by Cao Pai, committed suicide. What does Pan Feng count as? Kill. Pan Feng became fierce and decided that no matter what, he would have to fight this battle. He would have to join the Yellow Turban Army and replace Su He to lead these over 1 million soldiers. When the time came, he would behead Lu Dai and seize Yenzhou. In this way, the earliest foundation of Cao Cao would fall into his hands. For the sake of his future and to survive well in this chaotic world, he has to fight hard. He was a mediocre person in his previous life, and finally had the opportunity to live again. He can't live so miserably anymore. Carrying 500 soldiers along the way is a good idea and also a good one, but if we really encounter Eugene, the situation will be different. There is a saying that goes, imagination is full, reality is bone-like. Pan Feng, who had been working hard for a while, had not yet left with his people when he met Eugene's army. Or rather, they didn't meet because Eugene had been ambushing them here for a long time. Yes, Pan Feng and the others were ambushed. Just arrived at a small forest when suddenly there were shouts of killing around. Eugene was the first to bear the brunt and ran straight towards Pan Feng to kill him. Pan Feng had never seen this battle before, and suddenly panicked, but this panic was too severe. The thief will rest and take a knife from me. Eugene's long sword struck down directly, and Pan Feng quickly raised his gun to block it. Bang! This is not a bad situation. In this one, the gunpowder inside the gun was accidentally fired, making a thunderous sound. This not only startled Eugene, but also frightened Pan Feng. This was not the most important thing. The most important thing was that his firearm was filled with hairstyles, and after firing one shot, it could be loaded. Now that it's ready and fired, Pan Feng's last trump card is gone. Damn it! Pan Feng cursed in his heart and, taking advantage of Eugene's lack of consciousness, stopped his horse and ran away. Where are you willing to let go of the ban? Let the horses chase after you. It has to be said that luck is sometimes really important. Just now, Pan Feng fired a firearm and hit a branch of a tree nearby. He turned his head and ran over, but it was fine. Just as Eugene chased after him, the branch fell down and hit him right on the head, knocking Eugene to the ground. After seeing it, Pan Feng was overjoyed. Isn't this the first-class merit he brought up? He shouted loudly. Yuban rests and leaves. Pan Feng from Qingzhou is here, leaving his life behind. These two armies charged into battle, talking about a grand momentum. With Pan Feng's shout, the momentum suddenly rose. In addition, Ji Si and Qing Yuan followed suit, and these 500 soldiers were also killed back. On the other hand, the opposite is true for Eugene. Firstly, the vanguard general was taken off his horse, and secondly, Pan Feng now has some reputation. When he reported his name, he was a bit panicked. Pan Feng. Is it Pan Feng who injured LV Bu in front of Hulao Pass? How did he get along with Su He? With this reputation in place, they suddenly lost their confidence. As they watched Pan Feng approaching Eugene, the two generals on Eugene's side killed him directly. As soon as someone welcomed Pan Feng, another person rescued Eugene and retreated. This time, it was Pan Feng's turn to stop. Just now, Pan Feng only closed and took down Yuban. This scene greatly boosted his morale. As soon as Pan Feng saw his morale rise, he didn't hesitate and shouted loudly. "Take a break and leave your life behind." As the words fell, Pan Feng rode straight after him, and GC followed him while shouting and killing. It was finally taken down by Yuban. How could he run away so easily? No matter how many people there were, he just killed them. The incoming general was not inferior in skills, but there was still some distance between him and Pan Feng. Pan Feng could only defeat those top-notch fierce generals and was not useless. The two clashed 7 times, and the general took a shot in the left arm and ran away dragging his weapon. Pan Feng's intention was to ban, so it was impossible to pursue him. He directly rode towards Eugene, chasing while raising a gun, shouting. "The person with a crooked neck is Eugene, kill Eugene. The one holding his head is Eugene, hurry up and chase Eugene. Riding on a jujube red horse is Eugene, kill Eugene. Good guy, he learned from Ma Chao, and Eugene's life is worth it." This is a treatment that only bosses can afford. Under the leadership of Pan Feng, 500 light cavalry were unstoppable with astonishing combat power. The two armies clashed, and the enemy general was seriously injured. The enemy lost their backbone and was quickly dispersed by these 500 light cavalry. Although the individual soldiers of the Yellow Turban Army are not very strong, they are still skilled in this kind of melee. 500 light cavalry charge back and forth, as if entering an uninhabited territory, only killing corpses everywhere and blood flowing into a river. Pan Feng followed GC and Qing Yuan by his side, like an arrow piercing into the heart of the Forbidden Army, rushing back and forth without any obstacles. This battle resulted in blood-stained robes, and the horses that crossed over were covered in bloodstains. It was unclear whether the blood belonged to the horses or the enemy, which was a great pleasure. In this way, under the impact of these 500 light cavalry, Eugene Sua led his troops to suffer heavy casualties in an instant. In the end, the two young generals bravely protected the injured Eugene Sua and broke out of the encirclement, heading towards Yenzhou City. Ha ha ha. In a great victory, he killed over 700 soldiers with 500 light cavalry and more than 300 horses. He had several weapons and supplies, but only a few minor injuries on his side. This was a true victory, and Pan Feng stood in front of the battle with a horizontal sword, watching the direction in which Eugene and his companions were fleeing, laughing up in the sky. This was his first true victory, and he believed that after this battle, his reputation would spread throughout the world with this wind.